So today we're going to make the devil's horse. This is a devil's horse-like lure. It's not exactly like it, of course. This is a very popular topwater lure. Been watching a lot of videos lately of this thing in action, catching a lot of really nice fish, so I thought I'd go ahead and make one. Alright, so I went on the internet and I looked up some devil horses, and they seem to be 4.5 inches long. So I took my 3/4 inch dowel, poplar dowel, cut 4.5 inches off, and now I've got a lot of work to do. So that's the devil horse, and you can see how he comes down to a pretty good point on each end. So I've got an awful lot of sanding to do. I can carve it some with a knife, get it down there a little bit. I think I need to make a little lathe. I think I'm going to make a little lathe. That might be one of my projects. So I've got my rough shape here. Getting there. So that was done on the disc sander. Now I'm going to stick this puppy into a vise and do it by hand. Mailman just came and I got a new mystery tackle box, so I'm excited about that. We'll check that out. I also got me an injector and a couple of injection molds, so I'm going to do some injection. You can see I got a little setup here. We're going to do some hand pouring too. I'm making a little slip bobber there. That's a balsa wood slip bobber that I'm working on. I'm also working on an old lure of mine there, trying to fix that up. I'm coming up with a plan for my new lure dryer, and I'm working on my tackle box extension and making a devil's horse, so kind of busy out here. Having fun. Can't wait for it to warm up enough so I can start doing some hand pouring and injection. It's still cold out here. It's like 50 degrees in my shop right now. So it's starting to look like something. Really starting to look like a devil's horse. Now I need to fine sand it and then drill holes where the hardware is going to go. And then I will seal it. So those are the next steps. Alright, so I marked the center and I marked where my hook hangers are going to go, and I've drilled those holes. I've drilled the holes on the ends. This is all sanded. I am ready to seal it. I'm just going to dip it in some polyurethane. That worked well. It's just a speck too long. And you pull it out slowly. And hang it to dry. So this has been sealed in polyurethane, and now I'm going to spray paint it. I'm going to go ahead and put several coats of white on it, and then we'll do some finishing painting. So I got my airbrush out and I airbrushed the black on it. Got some lines there and a black back. Now I got to do the red on the bottom and the eyes, and I'll be ready to clear coat it and put it together. Alright, it's eye time. See if we can do this here. That looks big. Now we'll let that dry and I'll do the pupils. Now it's time to do the pupils. I'm doing the pupils. That didn't come out very good. So I want the pupils kind of in the front of the yellow there, so it looks like he's facing that way. He's looking that way. I'm going to take a paintbrush and paint a little bit of black around the back there for a little contrast, I guess. I just noticed that's what it looks like in the picture. He looks almost like he's got eyebrows. Alright, gonna clear coat it and put her together. So these little eyebrow things looked a little weird. So I looked at the picture and they come out this way more. So I'm gonna try to do that here. Something a little more like that. Yeah, I like that better. Yeah, I like that better. Got a couple of coats of spray clear coat on here now. So it's time to put my UV blast coating on here. This is a thick coating. It is basically like an epoxy, but it's only one part. It's water based. But it's pretty thick, pretty tough stuff, and it enhances UV rays. And because it's so thick, it tends to run, so I'm putting it on this little lure dryer here. And we'll just let that dry. Now the reason I spray this with clear coat a couple times is this paint that I've used to paint the stripes and the eyes and all that on are water-based paints. This is supposedly water-based, but for some reason this, if you start painting over that, it makes that paint run. So by spraying clear coat on it, you're not moving it, you know, it's just spraying on, and then you have a coating of that, and that doesn't run when you put this on it. I'm getting kind of excited. I think this is going to be a fun lure. There's going to be a hook on the very end. So I'm going to put my split ring on there right now. This is an open-eyed screw, so I'm going to have to close it with a pair of pliers. Alright, let's see if we can get this to focus. There we go. So I got my split ring on, and the prop has to go on. Then put my cup on. So it looks like that. Now I can screw it onto my lure. Yeah, I think that's going to work. Now it's time to put the hook hangers on. Oh boy. So the hook hangers I'm using look like that. They're bigger here than in the bottom. That's the hanger part. I want that to go to the front of the lure. Alright, so once we get these hook hangers started, then you got to get your hook in there. Before you tighten the other end up. What these hangers do is they don't allow the hook to go as far in one direction as the other. I don't think you really need them on this. I think if I was to build this again, I would just put a screw eye in here with a split ring. I wouldn't bother with the hangers. But I had hangers hanging around, so why not? There it is. Kind of a silly looking thing, isn't it? I'm kind of excited about it. I think it's going to catch fish. Now, a couple of things. These here, these hook hangers, they were a pain to put on, mostly because I didn't have the correct drill bit for the pilot holes. So my pilot holes were a little small, and these screws are old standard slotted screws. So they were a pain. I had just a little jewelry type screwdriver to put them in with, and it was not easy. I don't know if I would even use them again. I had them laying around, and the original ones of these, you know, or the factory made ones have them, so I did it. But I went online, and there's a guy that he's a professional fisherman, and he doesn't take these off, but he takes the hooks out and then puts split rings in there, and then puts the hooks on the split rings. He claims that with the hook hangers, there's too much leverage for the fish to spit the hooks out, so he puts split rings in there. So I think if I was to make another one of these, I would probably just put screw eyes in and split rings. One thing that several of them do is move the hook, and I can't remember now. I think it floats so the front end is sticking up just a little, or it sinks. I can't remember for sure. But they move this hook either forward or backwards to compensate for that. And all they do is take out one of these screws and turn the hook hanger around and then screw it back in. So that's all they're moving, that is just the length of one of those. And that compensates for it. And several of them say they do that. So another thing was one guy, I think it's the same guy that does the split rings, and he moves the hook also. He takes this back prop off and turns it around so it's backwards, and he claims that it churns up more water, makes more noise, and just attracts fish better. So I'm going to run it just like this and see what happens. So I got to go to a pond. I threw this in a few times. It was a little tiny pond. I wasn't going to catch anything with this, but I just wanted to see if it worked. See if it sank a little in the front or the back, if it wanted to go to one side or the other. Wanted to see how it worked in the water. It worked great. It floats perfectly straight. Both of these little spinners do a great job. They churn a lot of water, so I'm not going to make any changes to this at this time. I'll have to see what happens when I catch a few fish with it, if I want to go to split rings or not. But so far so good. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and please hit that subscribe button. Really helps me out a lot. Thanks for watching.